What's up, everyone? We got a great show on hand today. It is a World Series day on the DNVR Rockies pod because the World Series kicks off today. So many storylines, so many topics, predictions, all of that's coming up next on the DNVR Rockies podcast. Today is the day. It is finally here. After long last, we have been waiting 162 plus games of regular season baseball across all the different teams. And it's finally here. The World Series begins today in Los Angeles, and it could not be more hyped than the emotions that we have going into this game. And if you follow us on DNVR Rockies Twitter, you know that, I have my opinions on enjoying this World Series despite hating the teams that are playing in it. Even though I've got a Yankees hat on, because I'll explain that in just a moment. But it's going to be a blast today. We've got such a fun show live from the Toyota Lounge right here at the DNVR bar. I am Christian Saez. We've got so much to break down with you today. Super producer Kale in the booth as well. And let's set the stage, guys. It's the two best teams in baseball, literally. The 2-1 seeds going head-to-head. The two best offensive teams in baseball. The two best players in baseball. You could even go as far to say the two biggest baseball fan bases in all of baseball. And here we are. It is going to be an absolute blast. Side note, we're going to talk storylines here in a moment, but just a little side storyline to throw out there. Over the last 60 games that these two teams have played each other, they are 30-30 combined. In their last 60 appearances, 30-30 is their record. So that means that if we get to a Game 7 of this World Series, which, my God, that would be incredible, the record would be 33-33 for a winner-take-all Game 7. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to get my hopes up. But a Game 7 Dodgers-Yankees World Series would be electric. And we are so excited to get into it here. I got to give you guys a backstory before we get into the rest of this show, because I am wearing a Yankees hat. Now, I am one of the few people in the country right now wearing a Yankees hat and not being an actual Yankees fan. And I say that semi-sarcastically. But I got this hat when I was in high school. I'm not a Yankees fan by any means, but as most high schoolers do, you get hats that look cool, and the Yankees hat was the vibe back when I was in high school. I don't think I've worn it a single second since then. However, whenever there is a team that is playing the Los Angeles Dodgers, especially when it's the World Series, I will be all in on that team. The Dodgers are the dirt of baseball in my eyes, and we are continuing in our Dodger Hate Week here on the DNVR Rockies pod. So although I am not a Yankees fan, I will proudly wear a Yankees hat today and throughout the rest of this series in hopes that the Dodgers can get eliminated from the postseason in the World Series. So I just got to put that out there because I would never be wearing a Yankees hat in any other situation. All right, before we get into World Series talks, though, I do have some non-World Series news to talk about on the show. First of all, this is a DNVR Rockies podcast, so I can't go any further without announcing some good news that we had on the DNVR Rockies side. The Colorado Rockies center fielder, Brenton Doyle, was recently, and by recently I mean yesterday, awarded the SIS Baseball Fielding Bible Award. And if you guys aren't familiar with SIS Baseball, they're basically just an analytics company that provides a lot of the stats and analytics to Major League Baseball, to the teams, to the fans. They kind of cover all the stats and stuff behind the scenes. So pretty cool that they were able to recognize Brenton Doyle, not just for his ability and success in playing center field, but also they put a lot of emphasis on how hard it is to play center field in Colorado at Coors Field. And so recognizing our very own center fielder for that, I would say that we're not too far away from seeing Brenton Doyle win his second Gold Glove as well. So pretty cool for Brenton Doyle to be able to pick up that award. Also, moving beyond that, and this is a report that just came out. Now, it has not been confirmed yet. It was a report by Cardinals Live, but there seems to be some legitimacy to this report. But the Cardinals have reportedly informed Nolan Arenado that they want to trade him, and Nolan Arenado has agreed to enter into trading conversations with other teams. Now, we can do with that whatever you want. You can do with that whatever you want. I am not going to sit here and say that the Rockies are in a place where they would want to go out and pick up Nolan Arenado. Now, he is a Gold Glover, but the Rockies have a pretty solid infield, and I don't see that being a reunion that is coming up anytime soon. But the interesting thing to look at for me and from my perspective is the fact that Nolan Arenado left the Rockies specifically because he wanted to get an opportunity to win, to go to the playoffs, and to win a World Series, and he has the same amount of World Series wins or even playoff appearances that he would have had if he had stayed with the Rockies. So, what are we doing, Nolan? And I know that's how it works sometimes. That's baseball. He's probably, Rockies fans, and we can hate him all we want for him leaving, and rightfully so. But also, the Rockies were kind of a mess and have been kind of a mess since he left, and they handled that really poorly. So, I think there's some happy feelings that Rockies fans can get by seeing that didn't really work out for Nolan. But at the same time, we'll have plenty of conversations as we continue of where he'll end up. Burge says he thinks he might end up on the Dodgers. I wouldn't be surprised at this point. I would not be surprised. Especially given that the Dodgers infield could use some work in this offseason. But anyways, let's get into this World Series conversation here because we've got a jam-packed show, a lot to talk about. And I want to start by setting the stage of what it would look like to be a baseball fan going to Game 1 of the World Series today in Los Angeles. So let's say you wake up in Los Angeles and you say, you know what? We're going to Game 1 of the World Series in LA. Well, what does that look like? So let's break it down. To get the cheapest possible ticket at Dodger Stadium, sitting up in the nosebleeds. I mean, I'm talking top of the stadium, out in the middle of nowhere. You can see the smog for miles type of seats. At Dodger Stadium, you're looking at the cheapest ticket going for $1,085. Most expensive ticket is $35,802, which is comparable to a one-off Super Bowl ticket. Let's not forget that. This is just Game 1 of the World Series. Super Bowl tickets average around the same ticket price as what we're seeing in just one game of this 7-game series between the Dodgers and the Yankees. So, all right, you spend $1,000, let's say $1,100 that you just spent to get nosebleed tickets to Game 1. Now, let's talk about traffic, okay? Assuming that you live somewhere near Beverly Hills, Brentwood, let's just say West Hollywood, because most people who can afford to drop $1,000 on a ticket to one baseball game probably live in somewhere in that area. So let's say you're commuting from West Hollywood. It will take you approximately 1 hour with traffic to get there. Now, that's not taking into consideration what you see on the screen right there, which is all of the other events that are happening all around the LA area right now. You've got a Lakers game. You got USC game, concert at Kia Forum, concert at Intuit Dome, East LA Classic at SoFi, all happening at the exact same time in LA. It will be bedlam in California.
If you are going to any of these events, I would just leave 6 hours.
You have to. It's a full day event.
Yeah, like I would just leave 6 hours to go wherever you're going.
It's like you call out sick from work, especially if you're dropping $1,000 on tickets, minimum. You call out sick from work. You tell your boss, hey, man, I'm not going to be at work today because I need to get on the road to Dodger Stadium by 7 a.m. to make the 6 p.m. game tonight. And also, if you're not familiar with where West Hollywood is, in this hypothetical people going from West Hollywood to Dodger Stadium, it's about 7.5 miles. So we're talking roughly 8-mile radius that you're traveling, which is the equivalent to going from Littleton to Denver, right? About the same. Takes me about, I live in Littleton, takes me about 20 minutes to get to work on a decent day. Traffic, maybe 35 minutes, all right? Okay, so you're looking at an hour of traffic with about 7.5 miles of travel. To park in the stadium, in a stadium lot at Dodger Stadium, parking passes are being sold minimum $1,600. Maximum, closest to the stadium, $6,000. So you're looking at pretty much another World Series ticket in parking passes. So let's assume that you take the cheap route. Let's assume you say, you know what, guys, I'm budgeting. I'm on a budget here. Okay, we already just spent $1,100 on our ticket, just one ticket. So that's assuming you're not going with friends or family. I'm going to go the cheap route and buy the $1,600 parking pass. You put into that food and drinks. Average person consumes about 2 to 3 drinks with about a meal worth of food. Okay? You're looking at $100, $150, depending on how much food and drinks you consume. Now you look at traffic after the game. Hopefully you get a good game, because you're already racking the prices up here. Hopefully you get a good game. But no matter what, you've got to deal with traffic on the way home. And we've seen some crazy pictures going out of Dodger Stadium in these last few games of traffic. And I was looking at some of the stats. Most people say they average about an hour and a half to exit the stadium. Hour and a half sitting in your car waiting to get out of the stadium. So let's
hope you got gas.
Oh, yeah. Let's total all of this up here. Let's total all of this up. Total ticket price, including the cheapest possible parking and food, $3,000 for just yourself. Total time stuck in traffic inside a 10-mile radius, 3.5 hours of sitting in your car. So you are looking at a $3,000 minimum expense by yourself, plus 3 hours of stationary car time to go to this event. That's absurd. I was talking to Marissa about this, my wife, on the way here to work, and I was saying, like, look, if the Rockies made it to the World Series, even if I wasn't covering the team, I would pay a lot of money. I would probably go up to about $600, maybe $700 for a ticket. And it would be cheaper. Let's be realistic. It would be much cheaper to go to a Rockies World Series than Dodgers or Yankees World Series, just because of the cost of living here. Like, it's a different experience. You know, not to say that the hype wouldn't be there. It's just a different experience at Coors Field than it is in LA. But
I mean, and those are special occasions, right? Like, I dropped $1,000 to go to the NBA Finals, and
absolutely.
I don't regret it at all.
Not at all. However, there's a lot of risk involved in dropping $5,000 on a sporting event, right? Like that. There's a possibility. What if you're seated next to the worst possible fan? And we've all seen those fans, especially at a Dodger-Yankees game. You have a high possibility of getting stuck next to someone you don't really want to be sitting next to. And you spent $5,000 on those tickets, I'd be pissed. And that's assuming that you get a good game. What if the Dodgers get blown out 8-0? You know, like, that's so much risk. I could spend $5,000, $10,000 on a vacation where I'm in control of, for the most part, how I enjoy my experience, right? Like, I go on a this time 2 years ago, I was in London with the DNVR Broncos guys for the Broncos game. I spent, $5,000. I had an absolute blast over a week. You're putting a lot of faith in one game to make that $5,000 worth it.
That's what I mean. Like, what can you, if you had, so you're only doing the one parking pass, so it's not quite doubling that $3,000 price. But let's say you're going with you and your wife. So $4,500 at a minimum, let's say.
Yeah.
What type of vacation could you take for $4,500?
So many.
A really good one, probably.
Yes, absolutely. You could at least get plane tickets and like an Airbnb. Like you could at least set up your travel and housing on a 3 to 4 day vacation with about $4,500, depending on where you want to go.
Somewhere nice too.
That's what I'm saying.
Like staying in like a swanky place,
like a nice Airbnb, traveling out of country, and to London or just to Europe or something like that. I mean, $4,500, $5,000 gets you a lot, and there's going to be about 45,000 people who are ranging between the $1,000 to $35,000 ticket range. Unreal out there. We got to hit a break here in a second, but and we're so far behind on topics already. But I do want to quickly say that I was looking up the comparison of when the last World Series between the Dodgers and the Yankees was, what the cheapest World Series ticket was back then. Kale, do you have a guess of what the cheapest World Series ticket was in 1941 for the Dodgers-Yankees World Series?
81, you mean?
No, it was 1941. Was it 81?
Yeah,
81. You're right.
Didn't they play in 80? Yeah, okay.
That was a typo. Thank you. 81.
I was like, it hasn't been 80 years.
I think my graphic that I saw was wrong. I do think they're talking about 1941. There was another World Series in 1941 between the Yankees and Dodgers.
Oh, okay.
But yes, so we're gonna go 1941. What's your guess? 1941 Dodgers Yankees World Series.
$12.
$1.10. $1.10 ticket price between Yankees and Dodgers in 1941, man. That's unbelievable. You're looking at roughly $1,100 more now. That's a pretty big increase. Look, we got to take a break. After the break, though, we're going to go through the old logos of the World Series. We're going to go kind of rank our favorite World Series logos over the years and talk about that in just a moment. But real quickly, got to give a shout out to our friends over at Blue Chew, because Blue Chew is an incredible online service that helps you build confidence in the bedroom. And look, if you start getting older, guys, you start getting older. As you age, you start to lose some of that confidence in the bedroom. Hopefully you don't, but there's a lot of guys out there that's just the reality of it. And Blue Chew is an incredible online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, but at a fraction of the cost and in a chewable form. The process is super simple. You can go online, bluechew.com, you sign up, you consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. And the really cool thing about Blue Chew is it's done all online. So you don't have to sit through awkward, waiting room sessions and having a face-to-face conversation with a doctor. We know it's uncomfortable, and especially when it comes to that confidence in the bedroom. We know that's an uncomfortable conversation to have with a doctor. So Blue Chew makes it easier because you get to have that conversation online. And then once you get approved, you can take those, your Blue Chew, any day, anytime, any day or night. You can plan ahead. You can be ready whenever the opportunity comes up. So as they say, there's nothing sexier than confidence, and Blue Chew can help give you the confidence where it counts. So right now we got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew for free when you use promo code ALLCITY at checkout to pay just $5 in shipping. That's bluechew.com and promo code ALLCITY to receive your first month free. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. Thank you to Blue Chew for sponsoring our podcast. Also got to give a shout out to Game Time, because there has never been a better time to be a fan than right now. And buying tickets, we were just talking about how expensive it is to buy tickets at Dodger Stadium for Game 1. Hey, look, if you use the Game Time app, maybe those ticket prices, if they weren't sold out, maybe you could get tickets for $900 close to Game Time instead of $1,000. Like, I don't know. The point I'm making is that with Game Time, as you get closer and closer to that first pitch, kickoff, tip-off, whatever that is, the tickets get cheaper. And I've used Game Time so many times to get cheap tickets as I get closer to games, especially with baseball, during the regular season. A lot of games aren't sold out, and so you can wait till, 15 minutes before first pitch. Use the Game Time app. You get the cheapest possible tickets. It's really incredible. Game Time has you covered. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms and conditions apply. Again, create an account. Redeem code DNVR for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's Game Time. And I should also say it is World Series Game Time here on the DNVR Rockies podcast. All right, got to circle back here. I want to show you guys a graphic of World Series logos over the years. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet. It was circulating through social media. These are the World Series logos over the last 24 years. If you could see there, kind of second row, middle, you got our Rockies World Series logo in 2007, which was actually a pretty dope logo, if I'm not going to lie.
They did kind of nail it. It's
it was
one of
a
my
solid
favorites
logo.
on this sheet for sure.
I will say, though, my all-time favorite logo for the World Series is the 2008 World Series logo, the very next one, because I really like the diamond outline. I know some of the other World Series ones have it, but that diamond World Series logo in the 2008 one was pretty solid. Least favorite World Series logo, 2000, by far. Like the cursive, like I can barely read what it's saying. That one's not my favorite.
There's this whole era of design that goes from about 95 to 2003, where computer design really came on to the scene for the first time, and like Photoshop and Illustrator all started to become a thing. And it was very much that scene from Jurassic Park where they're like, you were so preoccupied with the fact that you could, and you didn't stop to think that you should.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of like, they're like, well, we have all this technology now, we have to use it. And it led to some really wacky design choices.
Yes. Will Carpenter says, look up the 1991 World Series logo. Now I'm curious, what is the 1991 World Series logo? Kale's going to find it. The also, I don't know, is that 2024, 23, 22? Is that 2021 World Series logo that looks kind of like a baseball? Not a fan of that one either. You know, the circle in the background. I'm a big shapes guy, so when you have the really weird kind of half dome circle there, looks like half a baseball, not a thing for me. Not really much of much of a fan of that one. Kale's bringing up 91. Let's see what does it look like.
It's pretty slick. I gotta be honest.
actually kind of like
one
that.
of my favorites. Yeah, it's super simple, but it looks like a baseball logo to me.
I'm all in on that. That's actually a really good logo. I would see that being like, first of all, that looks like a video game, kind of like a backyard baseball type of logo, and it also looks like something you would see on an outfield fence, like minor league, stadium, like that, little logo or something like that. Feels very old fashioned in that way, hand drawn. I actually like that one, Will. I think that's a pretty cool. I don't know, Will, if you liked it, if that's why you were saying, having us look that up, or if you disliked it. But I'm gonna go bullish on that one. I think that was a pretty cool logo. But yeah, look, the branding and graphics though around this entire World Series has been really good. And I give credit to the designers of the World Series and Major League Baseball today. They do a really good job. It's kind of cool to see how that's progressed over the years. Also crazy to see how the media has progressed in how they cover people today. Kale, I sent this to you as well. This was in the form of a tweet, if you want to pull this up. I don't know if you guys at home saw this was different. This was an actual tweet link that I sent you. I don't know if you guys saw this at home, though, while Kale pulls this up. Shohei Ohtani, there was a video of him at Media Day. Look at how they pan from the other Dodger players who are, waiting to get interviewed. And then look at what Shohei Ohtani's media scrum looks like. People are like fighting each other to get to him. It's insane. Like, what was that? Gavin Lux, poor guy. He's just sitting there having like a one-on-one chat with some random person. And then there's Shohei. It reminds me of Coach Prime. And I know Marissa was still doing the social media stuff for DNVR when Coach Prime was hired. And so she actually got to be at CU for a couple of those like introductory press conferences. And I remember her coming home and telling me like it was like Mad Max, like your people are just like elbowing each other to get a chance to even just put a microphone anywhere close to his face. And then also the fact that like when Shohei Ohtani came to Dodger Stadium or to Coors Field, when the Dodgers were playing the Rockies, like I've never seen Coors Field press box so packed. It was unbelievable. Like, I have never seen that sort of chaos. I was elbow to elbow with Shohei Ohtani's childhood coach's wife. Kale, were you on the show when I said that?
No, I wasn't.
So when the Dodgers came and played against the Rockies in the last series, the press box was packed with Dodgers media. And there was a lady who sat next to me in the press box, and we were like elbow to elbow. And we were talking, she ended up being, her husband was Shohei Ohtani's childhood coach and his coach all through high school. So she had some wild Shohei stories of when he was like a kid. And she was like telling me all these things about like what Shohei told me before, what Shohei told her just personally, and just talking to her and her husband before the game about some of the tipping information that he was studying on Senzatella, tipping off his pitches. And she was just like sharing these things with me. It was insane. I don't think I had ever seen that, of just like the casual, like, yeah, Shohei was just like talking to my husband and I earlier today before the game and saying, yeah, Senzatella, like this pitcher tips his pitches, and and here's what he does. And it was just like, first of all, why are you telling me this? Second of all, like, that's really cool. And can I possibly meet your husband? Like, that's a really cool story. So yeah, it's just the media frenzy around Shohei is unbelievable. It's incredible to see what he's done to this game and how this game has progressed through him.
Shohei, this whole series, like, there's a level of grandeur to it, like in the air, like even like casual sports talk radio is talking baseball for the first time, it feels like, in years.
Yeah. And
like, there is just a level of hype for this series I haven't felt in a really long time. Just the buzz in the air.
It's why I said, and I posted this on Twitter. It's why I said that despite my disdain for both of these teams, I'm still going to watch this World Series. Like, this is a World Series that has a chance to be a historic World Series, a World Series that we look back on 50 years from now and say, oh my gosh, I remember when the Dodgers and Yankees went head to head. I remember when Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge faced off in a winner take all series in the World Series. Like, it's one of those things that you're going to look back on when these two players are Hall of Famers, and say, like, we got to watch them play. And that's why I have such a hard time with people who say, like, I'm not going to be watching this game or this series because I hate both teams. Like, why do you watch baseball then? Especially because I was seeing a lot of Rockies fans who were saying that, and I'm like, okay, look, I get it. I'm a Rockies fan too, but if you're only tuning into the teams that you want to see, and you don't watch baseball beyond that, then you're gonna be waiting for a long time. Like, I would love to say that the Rockies will be a World Series team next year. The reality is they probably won't be. And so I would like to choose to enjoy baseball now for what it is and get the most out of this experience, because baseball is not just a sport for the Rockies, although we love it when our Rockies are doing great. But it's a sport that goes beyond that, and I would be remiss in saying that, I'm super excited for this series. This is going to be an incredible World Series. Real quick before we hit our next break, I want to kind of gloss through this topic real quick, but I think there's a lot of conversation around how people are kind of thrown off about this World Series because it's the, two big money, the behemoths of baseball, the big money gougers of baseball, the richest teams. It's the Yankees and the Dodgers. And my response to that is that I feel like Moneyball, the movie Moneyball, has ruined fans' idea of what good baseball can look like. Yes, it's super fun when the Oakland A's, a payroll of $50 million, makes it to a World Series, or not a World Series, but like even just the playoffs. And you have this underdog mentality, or even the Guardians making it to, a deep playoff run. Like, that's great. And we love those underdog stories. And we also hope that the Rockies can be that way one day. But I also think there is some beauty in the high-end hype that baseball can bring. This postseason, we've had 14 players in the postseason that currently have contracts over $300 million. 6 of those players are going to be playing in the World Series, and I think I would go on record saying that there has not been this sort of hype entering a World Series in years. Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Yamamoto, and Cole. all have contracts over $300 million, and all of them are playing in the World Series. And I have no issue with that. I have no issue with the Rangers playing the Diamondbacks last year, and I have no issue with the Yankees playing the Dodgers, right? This has the opportunity to be a historic series, and so I'm all in on it. Now, one thing that we won't see before I hit this next break, according to Dodgers manager Dave Roberts, we will not be seeing Shohei Ohtani pitching. So if you were hoping to see Shohei Ohtani come up in Game 7 to go take the field like the Terminator and throw 9 innings, 120 pitches, and a perfect game, it's not going to happen. Although it would be insane if it did. That would be incredible. Real quick, got to take a break, but after the break, I want to actually, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I want to talk a little bit about this new documentary that came out on Netflix called The Comeback, talking about the Boston Red Sox and Yankees World Series in 2004, or that run to the World Series in 2004. There's some interesting storylines there that I think are very relevant today that I want to react to in just a moment. But before we get into that, got to give some love to our buddies over at Toyota. You know, we have the Toyota chat here on the show, but beyond just the Toyota chat, who you guys are doing a great job engaging with me today on the show. But Toyota is an incredible sponsor of our podcast. We cannot say enough good things about Toyota. They are truly the official vehicle of DNVR for a reason, because they are the best when it comes to any type of car, whether you want to get off roads, you want to get, up in the mountains, whether you want to get a truck that can tow, or a nice, kind of sporty sedan, or whatever it is, family cars, sporty cars, whatever you're into, Toyota has the best possible deals, and they've got the best possible quality vehicles out there. You know my story. You know that I'm a diehard Toyota fan. I've had Toyotas my entire life. My entire family has Toyotas. But that truly just speaks to the quality that Toyota has as a vehicle. And right now, Toyota has some incredible vehicles out on the market. And Marissa and I were actually just looking the other day, looking at some of the new vehicles that are coming up. The new 4Runner looks pretty sick. So you got to check out what Toyota has to offer. You can visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson's Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson's Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is the official vehicle of DNVR. Also got to give some love to our other favorite sponsor. That is Coors Light. Coors Light is incredible because they are the best light beer out there. Coors Light, I can't say enough good things about them. And I've gone through this list in my head of all the different environments, all the different vibes that Coors Light can partner with, where whether you're out at a baseball game, whether you're out at Broncos Stadium or in Power Field, whether you're out at a tailgate before the Broncos game, or even if you're just hanging out, in your house, just kind of hanging out with some friends. I had some of my buddies come over for a little Halloween get together the other day, and we had some Coors Lights, and it's always a vibe. And here at DNVR, we are all about good vibes. And if you're looking for the best possible vibes when it comes to drinking a good, refreshing light beer, Coors Light is the best in the business. And we love Coors Light for so many reasons. I also love them because they're brewed right here in our backyard, Golden, Colorado. They're not too far away. I've never taken a tour of the Coors Brewing Company, headquarters and their brewery, but I've heard it's pretty incredible, so that's on my bucket list of things to get to. But yeah, you got to make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instant Cart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Please celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company in Golden, Colorado. All right, so there's this new documentary that came out a couple days ago, and I'm one episode in, and I don't know if you guys have watched this yet, but again, going back to this whole idea of if you're a fan of baseball, I don't personally care about the Red Sox or the Yankees, but if you're a fan of baseball, this is a fun and really enjoyable documentary that I've started watching. I'm only one episode in, so I'm not going to drop any spoilers to those of you who haven't yet watched it. But I'm all in on this documentary, and that first episode was really, really good. First reaction to me, I had no idea that Theo Epstein was 28 years old, the GM for the Red Sox. Maybe I'm uninformed as a baseball fan because I didn't know that, but I just don't pay a lot of attention to the Red Sox. I know some of the generic storylines, but that's crazy. I mean, I'm 27 years old, And Theo Epstein became the general manager of the Boston Red Sox at 28 years old and was able to lead them into a World Series franchise, to becoming a World Series franchise. And the takeaways, my I think, initial reaction that I'll talk about here is I think there's an interesting analysis that can be made on how the Red Sox approached becoming a winning franchise while they were a losing franchise. And right now the Rockies are in a place as a team where we're trying to rebuild. We're trying to reconstruct and get back to a place where we can compete with the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Padres, the Diamondbacks, those types of teams. And I thought it was really fascinating to watch and get a behind-the-scenes look at how a team like the Red Sox approached getting into becoming a winning franchise again, and also going out there and competing with the juggernaut that was the Yankees. And I've said this on the DNVR Rockies podcast before, that the Rockies play in the toughest division in all of baseball, in the NL West. So you already are up against it when it comes to being a playoff team, right? Like, this is not just like you're playing in the AL Central or something where you can just kind of sneak in the postseason as a like semi-winning team. Like, this is the toughest division in arguably the history of baseball. And the Red Sox in 2003 had to go out and compete against a Yankees team that was like the Dodgers back then, where they were the juggernaut. They were the team that was, on paper, almost impossible to beat. So to see a behind-the-scenes look at how the Red Sox approached building a lineup that could be competitive, that wasn't going to be super flashy, wasn't super expensive at the time. If you remember correctly, David Ortiz was just signed from, what was it, the Twins? You know, I mean, like, he wasn't a big player at that point yet. You were signing a bunch of kind of nobodies to put together a team that was going to go on and have multiple Hall of Famers and a multiple World Series run. And one of the biggest takeaways for me is that when you put together a big World Series winning team, you've always got to have a class clown on the team. I can't go back and think of a World Series where there wasn't at least one guy who just like threw the vibes through the roof for the team, right? Like, think of Hunter Pence for the San Francisco Giants in their World Series runs, or Kevin Millar for the Red Sox in that specific example. So it made me kind of contemplate who's the club clown for these two teams, because you've got to have a guy on your team that just like throws the vibes through the roof, right? Like, you've got to have a guy that loosens everyone up. You can't be super serious and strict, although the Yankees try to be that with their no beard policy and only mustache and, bald heads for everyone type of vibes. Despite that, I think you have to have some guys that loosen things up. So Kevin Millar was that guy for the Red Sox. I would go so far as to say Kike Hernandez. Kike Hernandez is definitely that guy for the Dodgers. Dude's kind of weird. He's kind of weird. But I would say if you're a Dodgers player, he probably sends those vibes through the roof, right? Like, he's probably a guy you want on your team. Super fun player to be around. So who's that guy for the Yankees? I don't really know. Do they have a club clown? A guy who's going to be your, captain of the vibes type of guy? A guy who you're going to hip thrust with in celebration after hitting a home run? Because Kike Hernandez will do that. I mean, is Jazz Chisholm that guy for the Yankees? I don't really think so. So based on vibes alone, the Dodgers kind of have the Yankees beat in that category. Anyways, that documentary also reminds us how fun it is to watch two teams that most of the world hates. Like, outside of Boston and New York, we all pretty much hate the Red Sox and the Yankees, right? It's the Patriots and the Giants Super Bowl type of, matchups type of thing. And it reminds us how fun it is to get some heated fan bases together and play a World Series like that, or even a division and championship series like that. Looking back, though, and now moving away from the documentary, and going now to the World Series that we have in front of us, these two teams we have playing here tonight, the Dodgers and the Yankees, both 1 seeds. And the last time 2 1 seeds played together in the World Series was in 2013. The 2013 Red Sox World Series was the last time both 1 seeds made it to the World Series. Also, something crazy to think about, and I guess I never really processed this until just now, but Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani are officially making their World Series debuts today. And we're talking the 2 best players in all of baseball who have never played in the World Series and are now playing in the World Series for the first time today. And I've got to say, I feel a little bad for Angels fans, right? Like, man, Angels fans, you had Shohei Ohtani for a while, and he became the player that he was with the Angels. And then he goes on to the Dodgers, and he goes and makes it to a World Series in his first season with the Dodgers. And I saw his tweet, and Kale, if you could pull up this screenshot of this tweet that encapsulated how it feels to be an Angels fan. If you're listening at home and you can't see the screen, Stevie Dub says, as an Angels fan, watching Ohtani this year has been like watching your ex leave you for a richer, more famous, much better looking, and overall better person than you. And every day she's on TV smiling and laughing and enjoying life way more than she ever did with you. That's the saddest thing I've ever read. And it's so true. Like one of our buddies in the Rockies press box, Jacob Sterling, J-Stir, as he likes to be called. He worked with Mile High Sports and DMAC and all of them. He was an Angels fan, and so he was like watching Angels games like sometimes during the press the Rockies games and in the press box and stuff. And my heart goes out to you, J-Stir, if you're listening right now out there in Fort Collins. I feel for you, man. Getting to watch Shohei Ohtani play for the Dodgers in the World Series. It's got to be tough. Yeah, it's hard. And it's something that Rockies, although I don't think we have it as bad as the Shohei Ohtani Angels situation. We know what it's like to lose players and then go see them compete somewhere else. We know what it's like. Hey, another reason to root for the Yankees. DJ is a Yankee, although he's not on the roster, not playing because of injury. I believe it's because of injury. I might be wrong on that. But former Rocky, DJ LeMahieu, Yankees guy, gives you a reason to root for the Yankees a little bit more. Hey, Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge meeting up in the World Series this year. It's going to be the first time that that 2 MVPs will face off on different teams in the World Series since Miguel Cabrera and Buster Posey in 2012, when the Giants won the World Series in their even year World Series. Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge, first MVPs to face off in the World Series since Miguel Cabrera and Buster Posey. Those were some pretty solid players back then. Current now president of baseball operations for the Giants, Buster Posey. So pretty cool to see. I got to ask you guys here before we hit our last break. I've got to ask you, who do you think is going to have the bigger series? We're talking about Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge. Who do we think is going to have the standout series? Is it going to be Shohei in all of his splendor and glory and everything that he has become this year and in his entire career? Or is it going to be Aaron Judge? A guy who has had his ups and downs, but is having a career year this year. And in first reaction, I've got to say it's probably going to be Shohei, just because I think this is the moment he's been waiting for. And he's just had so much of a historic run in his entire career so far that 50-50 season, it's fitting for him to have that kind of series. But it could go either way, and I'm going to hope that it goes in favor of Aaron Judge. But Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge, even if you don't care about either of the teams, that storyline alone is enough to make me want to watch these games. But after the break, coming up here in just a moment, we're going to get into our predictions. Who is going to be the World Series champions? How are they going to do it? That's all going to come up here in just a moment. But before we get into that, got to give some love to our buddies over at Breck Distillery, Because if you're into bourbon like I am, and it is spooky season here in Colorado and around the world, and fall is here, and that is the best time of year for bourbon. Break out the old fashions and pour some Breck Distillery bourbon, and it's a good time. And look, if you're heading out to the tailgate, that's this weekend, right, Kale? I'm correct in saying that's Sunday.
Sunday. I think we open doors at 10 a.m.
10 a.m. We have got an incredible tailgate just off the, what is it, right up top on Sports Fan?
Yeah, Sports Fan lot. It's right off of Federal and Colfax.
Breck Distillery has always been an incredible partner for DNVR, and I was first exposed to Breck Distillery at the Broncos tailgate when I first moved to Colorado, and I've never looked back. They have incredible bourbon. Their logo is awesome. The people there are great. They have tasting stations at the tailgates, or at least they used to. Breck Distillery is just incredible. They are going to, they're going to be there at the tailgate, having a good time, celebrating some Broncos, celebrating the good vibes. But look, even if you're not going to be there at the tailgate, if you're into bourbon whiskey, and you've got to check out Breck Distillery. They have some award-winning spirits, and they've got an incredible experience. Also, they've got a really cool thing going on right now. You can enter to win 2 tickets to Denver Broncos games in the Breck Bourbon Whiskey Suite. Share how you celebrate Broncos by posting your photos on social media using hashtag Broncos Bourbon. Also use code DNVR at checkout for free shipping on all orders over $99. Learn more at BreckenridgeDistillery.com. Also got to give a shout out to our friends over at Circle K, because Circle K is not just a gas station. If you've ever been to Circle K, you know they're more than just a gas station. You could go inside and you can get great food, great drinks. It's a whole well-rounded experience. And it's time to talk about the Circle K Inner Circle, because like I said, they're more than just a gas station, because they have such great snacks, great food, drinks, and now you can get even more by joining the Circle K Inner Circle free membership. All you do, it's like a grocery store membership, right? You enter your email, your phone number, you get enrolled for free, and after that, all you need to do is use your phone number. Anytime you go there, you check out, you can get discounts on gas, drinks, food, fountain drinks, whatever your vibes are. I know on the road trip for the DNVR Buffs guys, they were hitting up Circle K that whole time. It really is great vibes over at Circle K. So like I said, join the Inner Circle with the Circle K app. Receive 25 cents off per gallon on your next 5 fill-ups. Find it under the Circle K app /offers. Download the Circle K app and sign up for the Inner Circle for exclusive offers, new offers, purchase clubs, and sweepstakes are uploaded weekly. All right, last 10 minutes of the show here. Got to get into our predictions, but before we get into that, I got to ask you guys the question. Which stadium is harder to play in? Yankee Stadium or Dodger Stadium? Also, side note that I'm just now realizing, 2 stadiums that are historically have never had a sponsored name, like Coors Field or Busch Stadium or T-Mobile Stadium, whatever it is, T-Mobile Park. Yankee Stadium and Dodger Stadium have never had a paid partnership that has owned the naming rights. So, which stadium is harder to play in, Yankee Stadium or Dodger Stadium? After watching the documentary, or at least the first episode of the documentary, The Comeback on Netflix, between the Dodgers and Yankees rivalry, I've got to honestly go with Yankee Stadium. I feel like the closeness of Yankee Stadium, you feel like the crowd is just on the field in a different way than it is at Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium feels a little more separated. The foul lines are a little bit deeper. It's loud, but I also would say Dodger fans, although they are a little more low class stereotypically, I think their trash game isn't as high as Yankees fans.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Yankees fandom is religion, and Dodgers, the people that will be there will be hardcore Dodgers fans. Don't get me wrong, but sports fandom in LA and sports fandom in New York are just different things.
It is. The Yankees have such a deep, rich history, and they have a chip. Their fan base has a chip on their shoulder about being the baseball version of the 12th man. right? Like it's that idea that you're the 10th man out there in Yankee Stadium. Like your job as Yankees fans is to get in the head of the players anytime they step foot in the Bronx. You are the big bad empire. Like that is how it goes.
Yeah.
The Death Star.
That's got to be intimidating. Although, I mean, analytics-wise, Yankee Stadium is the most hitter-friendly park in baseball. So
both teams are very good.
Both teams should benefit from that, right?
Yeah.
But it's the Yankees' home stadium. They don't like Aaron Judge knows exactly where to put it.
He does.
That's what I mean. So
he does.
It is. I like the way you phrased the question, the harder stadium to play in, because that theoretically neutralizes when both teams hit well. But it's interesting.
Yeah, Dodger Stadium's no joke though. Those Dodger fans are feisty, zesty, as we like to say, zesty Dodger fans. World Series preview: Garrett Cole going up against Jack Flaherty, Game 1. Got a little breakdown of what I think, how I think the Dodgers win. 3 reasons the Dodgers win. Keys to success, as I like to say. Keys to success for the Dodgers: rely on the depth of your hitting lineup. You've got some incredible depth in your hitting lineup. Your offense is just a juggernaut. Rely on that. Trust your bullpen. I am not against the Dodgers having multiple bullpen games in this series, right? You don't have the starting pitching that you would normally have when when the Dodgers are healthy. So rely on your bullpen and lean on your experience. The Dodgers have some veteran players that have been here before. Lean on that experience. Even guys that aren't playing, like Clayton Kershaw, right? Lean on those guys to give you that experience to help some of those young guys transition. How do the Dodgers lose? Well, lack of lefty pitchers and starting pitcher struggles. If the starting pitchers are just not getting you innings and your lefties are having issues, the very few lefties that you have, Dodgers are going to be in trouble. How do the Yankees win? 3 keys to success for the Yankees. Starting pitching. Starting pitching is the complete opposite for the Yankees. Their starters can get you into the 6th or 7th inning in multiple games, and they need to rely on that. Garrett Cole needs to get you through 6 good innings here today for the Yankees. Second key to success: spread out your offense beyond just your top 3 hitters. You need to have the bottom of your order getting on base, getting hits. You cannot just rely on Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, and Juan Soto. And last thing, you need at least one of your big hitters to fully go off, right? I expect all 3 of those guys to have good series, but you got to have one guy who just like blows it off, blows the roof off. Like you just have to have one guy who goes off. How do the Yankees lose? If your bullpen can't get consistent. The bullpen has been all over the place, especially the closer spot for the Yankees. If the bullpen can't be consistent, Yankees lose this series, right? So that's my preview, okay? World Series prediction. Here we go. Tonight, I think the Dodgers, if we're going based off of the realistic take, not what I'm rooting for. I hope this is the opposite. But I realistically think the Dodgers will win Game 1 of this series. I'm going to even give them a 6-3 score. I think that the Yankees have been slow to get their bats rolling. I think it's going to be a little bit for the Yankees bats, especially playing on the road, to get going. I think Garrett Cole, although he has been a great postseason pitcher, I think pitching at Dodger Stadium, Garrett Cole is a pitcher who can get flustered at times if you get to him. I think the Dodgers can take Game 1. Series, though. Series prediction. I'm going Yankees in 7. Yankees in 7. And if we remember the last time these 2 teams played each other, the Yankees won the first 2 games of that series, and the Dodgers came back to win 4 in a row. I think the Dodgers will win at least Game 1, but 1 out of the first 2 games. And then I think the Yankees will take over for the remainder of that series and win it in 7. That's my prediction. Now, beyond that, and then I want to ask your prediction here in a second, Kale. But beyond that, I want to do a prediction on viewers as well, because that's going to be another storyline that we look at throughout this series, is how many people are watching this. There's no doubt in my mind this will be the most watched baseball event in the history of baseball. No doubt. So we'll get into that in just a moment. Kale, World Series prediction, just series overall. What do you think who do you think is going to take it in the overall series?
My biggest concern is Judge's swing has looked off to me this whole playoffs. And I don't know if he isn't who the Yankees need him to be. I don't know if they can win.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest concern. I want to believe you. And the Yankees base running has been so bad. Like the thing is, it's been okay. They've gone through some way inferior opponents so far leading up to this. But I just think with a team like the Dodgers, you have to nail all those margins.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think I'm going to go Dodgers in 5. Which I don't love. I obviously don't want the Dodgers to win a World Series, but that's sort of what I see happening. I think it's going to be Dodgers in 5. I think Shohei kind of has his moment here.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's a fair assessment. I will follow up to that, and then I'll give you my thoughts on this in a second. I'll follow up to that, though. Which franchise do you think has more pressure to win a World Series this year on them? Do you think it's the Dodgers, who have gotten close outside of that COVID World Series they won, who have gotten close 12 times in a row, spent all that money? Do you think the pressure's on the Dodgers, or do you think the pressure's on the Yankees, who are the Yankees and have the expectations of being the best team in baseball in this dynasty?
I think it's the Yankees. I mean, they haven't won a World Series in over 20 years. And I think that that pressure within the fan base, when they have the payroll they have year after year after year, I think the Yankees are under more pressure than the Dodgers are, because I think the Dodgers know this window is going to be open for a while.
Yeah, we know, Kale. We know.
Just realistically, yes.
Rockies fans definitely know.
Yeah, and I think the Bills are going to come due a little bit faster for the Yankees. So I think it's similar. I really do think it's similar, but I think there's more pressure on the Yankees. What are your thoughts?
I totally get what you're saying. I do think, though, because of how aggressive the Dodgers have been this offseason, I would go with the Dodgers, just because I think there's this idea that, yes, they have that playoff window. They have that, they're going to be the Denver Nuggets or the Colorado Avalanche, where they could be a solid team for close to 5 years or more because of the talent that they have on their team. And I think there is still that pressure from ownership and management to go out and win 5 championships over the next 5 years. And I think that starts this year with Shohei Ohtani. I think it'll be a massive disappointment and letdown, given the just hype and the storylines that have surrounded the Dodgers this year with Shohei Ohtani. I think they have to win the World Series this year. Otherwise, I'm not going to say they go back to square one. Obviously, you make it to the World Series, but I just think it's going to be a devastating offseason for Dodgers fans if they lose, and I would love to see that. Let's talk real quick before we wrap things up about the average viewers in this. Now, to set the context here, to set the table, the NLCS Game 1 averaged 20 million viewers between the U.S. and Japan, which is the most in the history of baseball, watching a Major League Baseball game. I expect that to be significantly more for this game. I don't know if I'm going to go as far as saying it's going to double, but I would like to say there will probably be close to 30 million people watching this game.
I just won't even be shocked if 25 million people in Japan alone tune in.
Yeah.
He is as close to deity level in Japan as you get.
Yeah, I saw this too. I think I took a screenshot of this. Let me see if I did. Maybe I didn't. But there was a breakdown of all of the different times that the game is playing in different time zones. So in London, if you are a baseball fan trying to watch Game 1 in London, you're watching the game at 1:08 a.m. That's tough. But in Japan, the game starts at 9 in the morning, which is not bad. I would gladly wake up at 7:30, 8 o'clock, get some coffee, get some breakfast, and sit down on my couch on a Saturday or even a Friday, go to work and watch Game 1 of the World Series, right? That's not bad. 9 o'clock is not that bad. So I agree. 25, 30 million people is not out of the question watching this game. And I think the U.S. viewership, although there's going to be a lot of people saying that they're not watching this game because they hate the Dodgers and the Yankees, I think there's going to be a huge turnout, especially when people start getting a little FOMO on social media, seeing all the storylines that are coming out of everything. I think people are going to go all in on this. So it's going to be electric. We've got to cut things off here because it is 1:15. But look, guys, we're going to be with you guys all weekend covering this World Series. It's going to be a blast. I don't even know where to go with this. It's going to be fun. We got a huge week next week. Monday show coming up at 12:15. So we'll recap some of the World Series. We got a big surprise for you guys on Tuesday. We'll kind of announce that on Monday. Also, if you have not already, please subscribe. We are so close to hitting 100,000 subscribers. Please, please, please. If you support what we do here at DNVR, you like what's going on, give us a subscription, give us a like on your way out. We appreciate you guys, as always. You make things run here at DNVR. That's going to do it for us. From myself, Christian Saez, super producer Kale, we'll see you guys next time. Have a good weekend, and go Yankees.
We all silly like the mayor.